All right. Jesus Christ. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by BetUS TV. Man, the Mamu game, huh? Yeah, that guy's grandkids are going to be telling his grandkids about that game. So kudos to him. This was not the worst Knicks loss of the season. Not even sure I would say that this was one of the 10 worst losses of the Knicks season. It was absolutely the most annoying loss of the Knicks season, and I'm not sure that there is a particularly close second. The Knicks somehow managed to lose that game, not once, not twice, but 3 times, which and to add injury to injury or insult to insult, however you want to butcher that phrase, they have a back-to-back. So if we are sitting there tomorrow and they are in a neck and neck game against the freaking Charlotte Hornets, you're gonna be able to look back at tonight and be like, yep, that's why. They couldn't just go quietly into the night, which, like, if you wanna take some positive off of this, yeah, sure. You want to be like, hey, they came back, they didn't give up, they were down by 28, they got it to 8. And then they went down after coming back and getting it within 8. They went down by, I think it was 17 or 18 points again. I forget what the league got back up to. Might have been 16, 17, 18, something like that. And then they again got it down to 8 points. And we were like, oh, wow, this might actually happen. And then obviously it didn't. Never got the lead close at 8 after it got up to be that big. I think there are a few ways to react to this game. I think if your largest takeaway is that you want to throw this one out, because, and I'm not going to go through them yet, but I will go through the shooting numbers in a few moments. But if you want to throw this game out because of how poorly they shot the ball in the first half, and they got down huge, and they obviously, could not bring themselves all the way back, whether it was because of an expenditure of energy or because they just eventually couldn't hit shots in the second half as well. If you want that to be your takeaway, that's fine. I'm fine with that. You want to call this an embarrassing effort. You want to say that in no way, shape, or form should any basketball team that has designs on competing for anything remotely serious, like, you just can't go into a team, a San Antonio team that is, I don't know if they're going to win 2 or 3 more games the rest of this season. You want to say that, like, it doesn't matter how bad you shoot. Like, there's zero excuse for going down that big in the second half, even without your best player, which obviously they didn't have, because guess what? Spurs, they didn't have their 2 best players. So I don't really want to hear that excuse. That's fine. I tend to be a little bit more forgiving of games where you're just kind of ice cold. If you want to be less forgiving, that's totally fine, because there are 2 sides of the court, and defensively, the first half, the Knicks, I don't know that I would go quite as far as calling it an embarrassing defensive effort, but it was, if like embarrassing is a 10 out of 10, then they were about like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. Like, out of the gate, they didn't defend, and there were some other instances. Then they decided to defend a little bit, and then the Spurs started making some shots, and then it got much worse. Like, you can't give up 60 whatever points that they did to that Spurs team, who's not good. Like, to be very clear, they're a bad team. Even tonight, I don't even think they played particularly well. That's the worst part. The Knicks just, like, got beaten by a bad team that didn't even play a great game. You could tell me the Spurs maybe hit some more shots. Obviously, this one particular player had an out-of-body experience that, will be remembered by anybody who watched this game for a very, very, very long time. But even with that guy not missing a 3, going 7 for 7 from deep, the Spurs only hit 46% of the threes. Like, that's, the rest of the team didn't shoot particularly well. They shot 50% overall. It is what it is. So if that's your takeaway, that's fine too. If your takeaway is that all of to the extent that they actually existed from anyone serious, and I'm not sure that they did, that any recent takes suggesting that this offense could somehow or is somehow better without Jalen Brunson in any way, shape, form, capacity, whatever you want to say, if your takeaway from this game is that those takes were ridiculous in the moment and they look even more ridiculous now, I think of the three that I just mentioned, that's probably the one that I feel most comfortable with, because I think I'm like, I kind of want to throw this game out. I kind of want to get on them for an embarrassing effort. I definitely want to dispense with all of those conversations. And to go back to point one, to anybody who wants to be like, well, yeah, but like you just said, they were just missing shots. Like, yeah, they were missing shots, but they had no way against a bad defensive team to generate easy offense. They just didn't. Like, we'll talk about the run that they made in the third quarter. They went on a 22-3 run. That was their defense spurring their offense. And a lot of those baskets came either in, whether it was transition or semi-transition, where, again, it was early offense. And, yeah, a couple of guys just absolutely hit shots. But, like, outside of Karl Anthony Towns going out and in the early portion of the game dominating the Jeremy Sohan matchup, there was no efficient offense to come by. Now, you could tell me, all right, yeah, but like they had good looks from three and they just missed those looks from three. I mean, the Knicks tonight ended up shooting, what they shoot from three, 11 of 37 from deep. So it actually wasn't even that bad at the end of the day, although we'll get into some of the nitty gritty. Like it still was pretty glaring to me how, like, again, other than Towns kind of going to work, there was just nowhere to turn. And we will talk about some of the, particular culprits for that part of the conversation, which I guess is where, well, I guess we could get there right now, because look, you go down 28 points. That's not on any one player. It's not even on any two players or any three players, but like we can, there has been a lot of conversation, including between me and Fred, when Fred and me were just talking on the most recent pod about, if I woke up or if I went into a coma and I woke up and it was Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals and the Knicks had played Boston toe to toe, what would I have guessed, helped get them there? And one of the things I said was that I think that maybe Mikal Bridges would have tapped into a little bit of what we've seen recently, even with Jalen Brunson back. And I think that has been a popular sentiment, along with like, hey, even when Brunson comes back, we gotta run some of the offense through Mikal Bridges. Like, this guy, he's really good. Well, it works well sometimes against some defensive coverages, particularly a drop. And shout out to Benji. He was pointed that out on our text thread earlier tonight. He is not nearly consistent enough to say, all right, you got to be one of our go-to guys. And I thought on a night where Cat really needed someone else to step up in a significant way, and like his team needed someone to step up in a significant way, I thought he came up pretty small. And I, again, feel a little bad singling him out, because, again, I really don't think anybody should be singled out in this game. But at the same time, if I didn't call it like I thought, I wouldn't be doing my job. And I saw a guy that really came up small and came up kind of soft. And so if we're going to give Mikal Bridges all the praise for when he plays well, you gotta take the brunt of it when you don't. And I think, again, Mikal Bridges has been going through it this season. But tonight was not good enough. Let's just leave it at that. Other things to take away from. Oh, and Josh Hart, I should mention too. Josh Hart, a guy that I love to praise. I'm, again, president of the Josh Hart fan club. We love Josh Hart here at Knicks Film School. Josh Hart was atrocious tonight. Atrocious. No two ways about it. Bridges at least hit some shots, took some shots, hit some shots, 5 of 13. Josh Hart played 35 minutes, made 1 field goal, only attempted 4, scored 2 points. He was a team worst -26 in this game. That is not a misnomer. I thought Josh Hart actively hurt his team. He was passive. He did not like the usual Josh Hart plays, all the plays that he was making in the second half against Miami. We really didn't see any of those. Like, there were a couple of offensive rebounds that the Spurs got where Josh Hart was right there. We never see that. So, was he more intense in the second half? Sure, he was more intense. They called it out like during the Knicks' big run. He was involved in that. I still thought it was an atrocious performance from Josh Hart. So, like, those are two of your big guns, and they didn't show up. And you know what? You're gonna call a spade. Let's go on to Deuce McBride too, because there's been a lot of calls for whether campaign to start or Payne to start. Maybe Deuce still plays a ton of minutes, but Kolek or like one of Kolek or Payne be in the game at all times. A lot of that comes from, okay, this guy can't consistently run the offense. Now, I think he's made some strides. I think there are moments where it looks pretty good. Tonight was a step back. And he is a player, and shout out to Benji again, because in his grade book, I thought he did an exceptional job explaining with clips and just detail about how McBride had the classic "you don't have to shoot well to play well" game against the Miami Heat in their last outing. There are times where when the Knicks offense is kind of in the mud, and it was in the mud for much of this night against the Spurs, Deuce McBride just has to make shots. And tonight he did not do enough on the other end of the floor to make up for the fact that he didn't make shots. So I just named 3 of the 5 starters. OG Anunoby, I thought at least, again, it was a rough shooting night for him as well. He really rough around the basket on some of those early drives. I did think his defense in the second half was like, it was the thing really as much as anything that turned the game around. Because again, he could be a game wrecker. But listen, it wasn't just the starters. Other than Mitchell Robinson, who I thought made some real strides in this game, his first double-double since coming back from injury, 5 offensive rebounds in 17 minutes, a couple of blocks, a steal. He was a plus number in this game in 17 minutes. Really good performance from Mitch, but like campaign, Landry Shamet. How about Landry Shamet too? While we're calling guys out, let's call out Landry Shamet. Your job off the bench, you want to talk about, guys who need to shoot well to play well. He is as much as anyone else on this team, more so than anyone on this team. He is absolutely you got to shoot well to play well. He is perhaps the only you got to shoot well to play well guy on this Knicks team. Anyway, he had 5 looks from 3. He missed all of them. Like, you can't do that if you're Landry Shamet. That's the sort of game that like makes people be like, yeah, this guy should not be in an NBA rotation. And there were some moments where like a 3 from him would have come up big. I could think of one in particular off the top of my head, and he wasn't close. So, really poor performances up and down the roster. I said I was going to get to the ugly numbers, and I'm going to do that right now. So the Knicks, I'm preparing myself. The Knicks during that little spurt, and I made sure to go up and look this specifically, when they went on a 22-3 run that was really spurred by their defense. They were 9 for 12 from the field over those 5. It was 5 minutes and 42 seconds. They were 9 for 12 from the field. For the remainder of this basketball game, if you take out, doing some quick math on the fly, which Alex, I know you love my attempts to do this. If you take out Karl Anthony Towns, now Towns was 2 for 3 during that stretch. If you take out all of the other Towns field goals, if you take out Mitch going 5 for 6, and I'm going to take out Precious too. Precious stunk, obviously, tonight. He played 7 minutes, and it was 7 minutes too many. I think everybody's about ready to be done with the Precious Achiuwa experience. I would imagine Tibbs is probably ready to be done with the Precious Achiuwa experience because he doesn't play him in second halves. Again, this is all about just trying to buy minutes. It's usually doesn't work. So take out his 2 for 3. So we're going to take all that out, and then we're going to take out that 9 for 12 spurt. So for the other 42 minutes and 18 seconds of this game, I hope my math here. So we're taking out 18. This is a scintillating podcasting, I know. 23, 25 for 39. Okay. So if we take away, again, the Cat field goals, the Mitch field goals, the Precious field goals, and the 9 for 12 stretch during that 5 minutes, for the rest of this game, the Knicks as a team, beside those 3 guys and besides that stretch, shot 14 for 53 from the field. 14 for 53. That is, generally speaking, not going to cut it. What does that work out to? 26% from the field. Yeah. So maybe we should just toss this game out because, I mean, you want to talk about atrocious numbers? You're not going to get much more atrocious than that. I'm here to talk about anything else you want. I'm here to hear any complaints about anything you want. You want to yell and scream about Tibbs tonight for playing Precious those 7 minutes with Josh Hart. I think was either Josh Hart or Mitchell Robinson, but all of the Precious minutes were with another non-shooter, which is just like makes it even more painful. You want to do that. You want to, you want to get on them for. Oh, I mean, if you want to get on Cat for being incapable of properly guarding a pick and pop, especially with a guy who was having the night of his life. I have a little trouble getting on the guy who, on a night where the team as a whole put up the offensive numbers that I just stated, finished the game with 32 points on 21 shots. But if you want to get on Cat for that, and you wanted to say, the Knicks were this close to making a real comeback, and those it was really 3 possessions. It was the 2 Mamu, I keep calling Mamu threes, followed by that dish to Sohan, although the dish to Sohan, Mitch has to own that a little bit as well because he lost Sohan there. You want to get on him there, that's fine. Yeah, any and all complaints are going to be welcome tonight. If people are annoyed, if people are angry, if people are despondent, I think it's all fair game. I would just my usual public service announcement before I get into the carnage. It's one game, it's one loss. The numbers were the numbers. Rare, you can watch 82 games in a season and you won't see 3 where a team shoots this badly for as long as the Knicks. I mean, I tweeted it out in the first quarter. I'll say it now. The first non-Knick big man to make a shot in this game was Cam Payne. Hit a 3 to make it 35-31. It was 9.5 minutes left in the second quarter. So this team went 14 minutes and change without a single perimeter player making a field goal. And it wasn't because of the Spurs defense, let me tell you. It was a combination of ineptitude, poor execution, and just flat out missing. So, look, let's hope they don't compound it with a loss tomorrow in Charlotte. Because you want to try to keep the morale up without Jalen Brunson, but they fall to 3-3 without JB. No, sorry, that's not true. They fall to 3-3 without JB because they were 2-2 and then they beat Miami and now they lost this game. So all things considered, that's not bad. But tonight was not a fun night if you're a Knicks fan. So there we go. All right, before we move on to talking about what everybody wants to talk about, or whatever anybody wants to talk about, we're going to hear a quick word from our friends at Factor. You heard me talk about Factor a couple nights ago after the monologue for the Heat game, and I get the pleasure of talking about them one more time. And it is always a pleasure to talk about Factor because it is gourmet eating made easy. Not only made easy in terms of what you have to do, you pop the meals in the microwave and they're ready in 2 minutes. But it's easy because it takes away the thought process. It takes away the thought process, which I know for me is always painful because I have 2 kids and my wife and I are always, it's literally a conversation, many times during the week where it's like, okay, what are we going to have? What are the kids going to have? What's healthy? What's satisfying? Yada, yada, yada. Factor takes all that away because we pop in our factors and then we make whatever easy thing there is to make for the kids. And that's it. We don't have to think about anything. They have all the options you could possibly want. They have 8 dietary preferences. You could, if you're trying to lose weight, you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor keto meals. I take it from me. It works if that's what your goal is. They also have a bunch of other stuff, smoothies, snacks, add-ons, run the gamut. If you want to eat smart with Factor, you can get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Okay. That is that. Curious where we're going tonight. What people want to talk about, what people want to complain about. Again, it's all fair game. Okay, we start off with Robert Cross. I'm sure Robert is thrilled. First time, long time, it's your boy John. Going to stay positive here. Money Mitch with 13 and 11 in 17 minutes. Liking what I see from my guy. I love that Robert surprised me here. He started off with some positivity. I needed some positivity to start off the show because I feel there's not going to be much of it remaining in the rest of the episode. Mitch was great. I have nothing bad to say about Mitch. There were, I should have nothing, but there were a couple of defensive or a couple of possessions where Mitch, like peak Mitch, would have really maybe gotten to done a slightly better job. We didn't maybe get that fully, but man, his presence on the offensive glass, we felt that 100%. We felt that. And I thought, again, the minutes with Karl Anthony Towns were a positive. Which is the thing I wrote about it today for the newsletter. It's, I think, of everything that we have left to see in what is now, they have 14 games left in the season. I think trying to envision the ceiling of the Towns Mitch minutes and how many minutes they could play together, in particular with OG Anunoby, I think is a particularly intriguing option. We know Tibbs talked about that after the last game. So yeah, he's really good. And here's the best part. There's been nothing that we've seen so far that would indicate that Towns and Mitch can't play together. Yeah. On that note, I may, Kev, if you're there, I may call you up to the stage for literally about 5 seconds to read Robert's next super chat. So I can go remove my dog from her cage so she could stop barking. If you're there. Oh, there you are. Okay. Kev, you're reading the super chat, and I'm going to see you in about 5 seconds. Hang on. Okay. And I'm back. What did I miss? Hold on. I can't hear you. You're muted. I think, were you muted the whole time? I think you might have been muted the whole time.
Muted the whole time. Rookie mistake. That's some last year stuff. I got to do better.
It's appropriate after the game. It's very appropriate after this game.
We're all terrible after that nonsense.
No, it's
the
fine.
The super chat says, first time, long time. It's your boy, John. Mamu, like me, also went to SHU. # haul in. because
So
it's Seton Hall.
this is a great time to look up. So I know because Fred tweeted it out that Mamu had been averaging 5 points a game this season. So that much I know. I am curious. I'm looking it up right now. His previous career high. He did go to Seton Hall. He's 25 years old. He turns 26 in May. He's from New York. He was born in New York, although it looks like he went to high school down in Florida. He was the 54th pick in the 2021 NBA draft. So that's exciting. He has played in 176 NBA games, which, like, if you're like me and you're someone who, like, maybe didn't know this person existed, shame on me, shame on us. The dude has scored, it went up after tonight, 838 NBA points coming into tonight. Kevin, do you want to guess what his career high in points was before this game?
28.
Oh, you cheated.
I watched the game.
Is that what did they say it on the broadcast?
They said it on the broadcast a couple times.
I missed that.
I mean, he's a flamethrower. He was unstoppable tonight. There was no way to stop the Chris Paul Sandro pick and pop. There was no way. Now I actually remember him from his draft. Me and my bro, shouts out Debo, we were like looking at him as a second round guy for the Knicks.
Okay.
At that point, I was probably wildly looking for 4s and 5s who could hit 3s. So
listen, man, he'd look great on the Knicks. But I don't know. Maybe this game alone is gonna spur the Spurs to give him another contract. We'll see. All right. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that.
All right, bro.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Shout out to Seton Hall University. One more from Robert Cross. First time, long time. It's your boy John. What did you like of the Mitch Hart precious minutes? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. Those three players should never play a second of basketball together. And like, if we're being honest, I think Precious and Benji's been all over this way more than me or anyone. I think Precious at the 4, even if you have him next to a spacing 5, and like Towns obviously is awesome. He is such a 0 on offense. Or he's a 0 on offense often enough that I just don't think it's just not tenable. Like, yeah, he has moments. He absolutely has moments. He had moments last year. He had weeks at a time last year when the Knicks played him at the 4 with a non-spacing big man and Josh Hart. And I don't know if I would say they thrived. They certainly survived, and he was a big part of their ability to survive. But that was such a unique all-hands-on-deck situation. Now, I will say, what have we been, maybe not me as much, but what have people been complaining about all year? People complaining all year about the minutes. Well, they are down bodies. And look, I'm sure people are going to be like, play Tyler Kolek or play Pacome Dadier or play, Rick Brunson or whoever, play anyone but Precious Achiuwa. I think it's a combination of Precious has been bad and the fact that they are down bodies and they're just not, like, I just don't think the rookies are ready. And also Tyler Kolek is small, which is the other issue. Because the problem, let's get kind of specific here, because there's no reason why Precious needs to play with Hart when he could just as easily be playing with OG Anunoby, or when he could be playing with Mikal Bridges as the other wing alongside Shamet and Payne. If you want to get on tips for that, because that's bizarre. What I will say is, there's like, you do, if you're Tom, if you're the head coach, you do want to maximize the minutes that your best players are on the floor. And right now, the 5 best players, unless you want to throw Mitch in there too, are their starting lineup. So if you want to maximize the time that those guys have together, obviously tonight they stunk. But if you want to maximize the time they have together, well, then you also kind of have to play your bench a certain number of minutes together. So doing that, I think, makes the mixing and matching a little bit tougher, to the point where you probably have to have, like, it's going to be really tough for you to play Payne and Shamet and, let's say, Kolek, because you're just going to be too small. But yeah, thanks, Robert. Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? Poor effort in the first half. Cat still not putting his hands up on the pick and roll. Yeah, no, it was a poor defensive performance. If you want to say that Cat had the poorest defensive performance of the starters in the first half, I mean, that's often the case. That's nothing new. I am not going to put that first half defense all on him, or at least not a disproportionate amount, given what we kind of have come to expect. But it was not great. McCall was a no-show, and Deuce struggled to get us in actions early tonight. Double big lineup looked good until Mamu exploited it. Yeah, and like Mamu exploiting it, I think that was just more exploiting Cat. I think that was more exploiting Cat, because if you have a pick and pop big, Cat's just going to struggle. He's just going to struggle. He struggles every time. He struggled tonight. We've seen him struggle throughout the year. That's why it is going to be utterly fascinating what they do and what the initial matchups are out of the gate against Boston. If they get to Boston, which is not a guarantee at this point. So we'll see. Thanks, Haitian. Another one from Haitian. P.S. Leon, get Mamu as our new backup for. I mean, shit, he'd be better than Precious. Not maybe saying much, but he would be better than Precious. Thanks, Haitian. Appreciate you. JD, what's going on, JD? Flashbacks to Zeke Najee going like 9 for 9 at MSG. I will never forget that game. I listened to that game. Oh wait, no, I didn't know. I had my phone. I was in the car. I thought for a second I listened to it, but I remember this is not that long ago. Days that happened in the internet age. This is how old I am. I can't remember what the hell. Can't keep anything straight. So yeah, my daughter had I think I only had one daughter at that time, or the youngest was very young. No, I think I only had one daughter at that time, because we were living in Long Island. But anyway, my older daughter had a birthday party at like one of those not bouncy house, like the trampoline park things, indoor trampoline park things. And I listened to that, or again, I watched that game on my phone in the car in like some industrial park in Long Island. And I was like really, really questioning my life choices at that time. So yeah. Thanks, JD. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? 20-plus point lead at the half. Fake run. Random scrub with the game of his life. Where have I seen this movie before? # fire tips. This game had all the hallmarks, man. Juanon, this game had all the hallmarks. Every Knicksy thing from like the bad times. This game had it, like, but they combined all into one. It was the going down big, it was the fake comeback, and it was the scrub having the game of his life. We haven't seen it too much from actually really this season. We have not really seen all that many guys like come out of nowhere and have the game of their life against the Knicks. It's been more. It's been replaced by the teams that are the best teams in the league and all the guys that you would expect to kick the shit out of you doing it. Instead of the Mamus of the world. I don't know which is better or which is worse. I guess that's up to you. Thanks, Juanon. Appreciate you. Robert Cross with another one. Robert, thank God for you. Otherwise, I'd have like 4 super chats tonight. First time, long time. It's your boy, John. What did you... Oh, no, I saw this already. We're going backwards, Kev. I already said what I thought of those minutes. They stunk. Deadwards, what's going on, Deadwards 604? It was great to meet you at the watch party this weekend. And yeah, it was great to meet you. Precious for Tibbs is that ex who he just can't let go of. I mean, sure. But again, if Tom Thibodeau thought Precious Achiuwa was helpful in terms of winning basketball games, he'd be playing him in second halves. The fact that he is not playing him in second halves at least indicates to me that he knows that, like, this is not great. This is not ideal. And yet, like, defensively against Miami, he was good. Again, we're talking about pretty low bars here. But no, he stinks, and well, he doesn't. I shouldn't say that. He doesn't stink. Apologies to Precious. He has not been playing well for a while, and he should probably not be getting rotation minutes on a team that is, going to win, hopefully, 50 plus games. But here we are. Thanks, Edwards. Deadwards with another one. 68 games in and still having rough first quarters. SMH. That's as good a time or a good a reason as any to look up. Let's see. So, Knicks net rating certainly took a hit tonight. What are we? Plus, sorry. This is actually not inclusive of tonight. They were plus 4.4 going into tonight. But this will be, accurate-ish. Tonight obviously wasn't good. In the first quarter this year, the Knicks net rating in first quarters this year is, drumroll please, negative 0.2. They have a 113.0 offensive rating that ranks 14th. Again, this is just first quarters. And they have a 113.2 defensive rating, which ranks 16th. So again, they are like dead smack middle of the league in terms of how they come out in the first quarter. Is how much of it is missing shots / maybe not getting good looks. Effective field goal percentage in the first quarter for them this season is 54.3. Their overall effective field goal percentage on the season is 59.2. So do the math. They're probably around 61. No, sorry, that's a lie. They're not 59.2. I lied. They're 50. I was looking at true shooting. They're 55.9 overall. So that's seventh best in the league. So their shooting is basically their shooting is at a top 5 level after the first quarter, but in the first quarter, they're a league average shooting team. You can point to that. You can point to some other things. And also, look, it all counts, but they definitely had some first quarters, mostly earlier in the year, but they definitely had some first quarters where they came out guns blazing and they just were unconscious from all over the field. It feels like we haven't seen one of those in a while. Now, I think part of that is because the starting lineup was really struggling before Brunson got injured. And now, since the Brunson injury, obviously they have some challenges putting together efficient offense. But yeah, no, it's an issue for sure. It's an issue for sure. Okay. Thanks, Edwards. All right. Quick word to here or to do our out of town scoreboard presented by T-Squared Social. I think I can announce this now. I don't know if we have a graphic, but I'll just say it. Doing a watch party this weekend because hey, listen, if you can't get a watch party win against the Washington Wizards, when the hell can you get one? So that's going to be on Saturday, live from T-Squared Social. Here's the thing: if coming out and watching Knicks Wizards doesn't get your blood flowing, it's also March Madness. It's also the round of 32. So there's going to be all the college basketball games on as well as the Knicks on. So it's just going to be a very festive, fun Saturday night atmosphere. So come on down, whether you are there just for the Knicks or whether you just want to watch some college basketball as well. Again, that's at T-Squared Social. I think tip off for that game is either at 7 or 7:30, but we'll usually get there around 6 and get things kicked off. Okay. Out of town scoreboard. What do we got here? Couple of thrilling games tonight. So I'll where are we here? Okay. Thunder, not a thrilling game, wiped up on the 76ers 133-100. Pelicans beat the Timberwolves. I saw that I think Anthony Edwards had a bit of a rough game there. That's a tough loss for the Timberwolves, who are battling for to get into the the playoffs there. They're in that battle for 6, 7, 8 right now. So that's a tough loss for them. Pistons won a game against the Heat. That great win for the Pistons. Another terrible loss for Miami that has now lost. Is that 10 games in a row for the Miami Heat? Or is it 9 games in a row? One or the other. It's just really, really bad for Miami right now. It is 9 games in a row for Miami. Yeah, they are 29 and 40. That's not great. Speaking of tough losses for Florida teams, the Magic lost 116-108. They had been they came off, I think, a very nice win against Cleveland. I forget if they won a nice game after that as well, but they were up for a lot of that game. They lost this to the Rockets. Pacers came from behind in the final seconds against the Mavericks. Unconscionable loss for the Mavericks, who have had a lot of those lately. And right now we got Cavs, Kings, Blazers, Grizzlies, Suns, Bulls, Lakers, Nuggets, and Wizards, Jazz. Okay, that's your out-of-town scoreboard presented by T-Squared Social. All right, Kevin Danishevsky, 2 takeaways. Precious minutes needs to end, but we already knew that. And Mitch looks really freaking good. How would you strategize around Hack'em Mitch? I don't know that you could strategize around that. That's if teams are going to do it, they're going to do it. And he is going to need to make free throws, which he's, you know what? I think if they weren't down by how much they were down, I think Tibbs probably leaves him in. But they needed more than 1 point per possession. And I think the odds are that if you leave Mitch in, you're getting 1 point per possession on those. So I don't know that. I mean, someone smarter than me, I'm sure, could come up with something, but yeah. Thanks, Kev. Kev with another one. As the resident Mikal Bridges defender, I think the criticism is very fair tonight, but I do think Hart is the bigger culprit. Minus 26, 0 for 3 from 3. Unlike Mikal Bridges, it's a trend. Yeah, no, Hart was worse. And if you want to tell me that on the whole, that Hart has been the worse or the more detrimental of the two players over the last 2 weeks, over the last month, over the last 6 weeks, over the last 2 months. Like I would hear that. I think they're just so different in that we know that Josh Hart is instrumental to the culture, which is challenging when he's not playing up to his capabilities. And like, it's been, now it's been like good game, bad game, good game, bad game, or good game, 2 bad games, good game, bad game now. So the inconsistency is really hard. I still think he's instrumental to the culture, which I think is where this whole problem originates from. Because if you have a guy that's instrumental to your culture and he's just really hurting you on the floor at times, and I think he did tonight, that's a problem. I think with Bridges, there's more going on there, but yeah, that's a very fair comment as far as tonight goes. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you. Haitian with another one. 15 for 46. Not okay from the supporting starters. JB easily erases nights like these, but his absence was glaring tonight. Missed a lot of makeable shots. I thought the defense was solid in spurts too, but too inconsistent. I thought the defense in the third quarter was is excellent going too far. I mean, they gave up 16 points to the Spurs in the third quarter. I don't know. It was pretty close to excellent. I thought it was really, 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 really good. But again, that's one quarter. I thought they maybe had a couple of spurts of decent defense in the first half, but like it was too much of not decent defense in the first half. Did they ever fully let go of the rope? I don't know that I would say that. So whatever. But yeah, it's all fair, Haitian. It's all fair. And does Brunson make a difference on a night like tonight? Yeah, I think Brunson makes a difference on a night like tonight for sure. Thank you, man. Appreciate you as always. Jay, what's going on, Jay? I just transparently want to know, why is it so hard for your coach, my coach? Are you a Knicks fan? He's your coach, man. Listen, you win together, you lose together. That's got to be the mentality. Anyway, to make or try any adjustments, even if he sees the same result over and over. Well, this is a stupid comment. Coach makes adjustments. He makes adjustments all the time. He made a major adjustment against Miami. Started Cat on Bam. It took him all of 5 minutes to make the adjustment, or 4 minutes to make that adjustment. Now you want to tell me it shouldn't have taken him 4 minutes. He should just came out of the gate with OG on Bam. But he makes adjustments every game, most of which many fans, including myself, to be very clear, don't even notice. And fans just, they fixate on the thing that they want to fixate on, and they get angry at the thing that they want to get angry on. And from that, they draw conclusions that the coach doesn't make any adjustments, which is stupid, and this isn't a Tibbs thing. This is literally every head coach in the league does tons of stuff that the casual fan just never sees, never appreciates, never pays attention to, doesn't know what they're looking for. And that's just, they use it as an excuse to rag on these coaches. All of these coaches are incredibly good at their jobs, and the jobs that they do are incredibly difficult. Again, this has nothing to do with Tibbs. It's every coach. So, I don't know what else to tell you. Jay with another one. 0 confidence. This coach can lead us in the playoffs. So you probably shouldn't watch then, because he's going to be the coach for the playoffs. So you might as well, I don't know, April. Watch some baseball. Go have a picnic. I don't know. Go jog. I like jogging. Jogging's fun. I don't know. Lots of things to do once it gets warm in New York. If you're not in New York, I'm sure there's maybe even more stuff to do. Live in a cold weather climate, you could go sledding. Again, it's just funny to me because we've seen 2 consecutive playoffs in which Thibodeau has pretty clearly outcoached his opponent in round 1 of both of those playoffs, JB Bickerstaff and then last year Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, a guy who, if you ask most Knicks fans, they would have told you, oh my God, he's going to run circles around Tibbs. He's boy genius. Well, he got pantsed in round 1, just like JB Bickerstaff got pantsed the year before. So, I don't know what to tell you. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? We must lead the league in opposing player season highs. I don't think that's happened as much this year, but happens more than you'd like it to. But of course, you'd like it to never happen. Thanks, Will. Kevin with another one. Is Precious Achiuwa the worst player to get minutes on a top 8 team? Currently? I mean, it's just tough because he's playing so poorly right now. I'm looking at the standings. Who's getting minutes for the Lakers? Let's see. The Lakers have to have someone worse than this. Bronny James played 3 minutes the other night. Shake Milton played 7. Those probably came in garbage time. I don't know. Christian Coloco, is he your cup of tea? Yeah, I don't know. I think he's among the least good. How about that, Kev? But again, Kevin, you're harping on this Precious thing. I know it's like the thing that sticks in your craw, and you're going to use it to make all kinds of other conclusions. It's like, the dude played 7 minutes. He's not playing well right now. They're down a guy that usually plays 36 minutes a game. You're trying not to overtax the players that are on your roster. I think there are other issues that we can, other much bigger issues that we can talk about here. But yeah. Thanks, Kev. Haitian with another one. Kev did his cat impression of calling out the pick and roll. Couldn't hear shit. Gotta laugh tonight, guys. Rough night. Great defense, Kev.
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. What could I say?
Yeah, but you're a second year player. So
I know.
That's the thing. But it proves second year players could still make rookie mistakes.
You know what I'm saying? Doing my best.
Yeah, man. Haitian, to your point, like, you do have to laugh tonight, which is, again, why of all nights, the night where the entire team couldn't hit the far side of a barn. Tonight's the night to criticize the coach. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Drew P with another one. 319. Oh, this is tonight. Mitchell Robinson and Cat, offensive rating 183.3, defensive rating 125, net 58.3. Clearly sustainable. Clearly sustainable. Thank you, Drew. I want to see more of it, to be clear. I love the Mitch Cat minutes. I really do. I'm a big fan of them. And I think they're part of the solution going forward. It's just a question of how big a part of the solution. So I really think that's the only question left. How big of a part of the solution is this? We'll see. Asha Henman, what's going on, Asha? Tibbs does not have control of the locker room. Okay, it's an interesting, again, game to point this out. What would that even look like on a team? Because he and Jalen Brunson are the same person. And I would argue that him and Josh Hart are like the odd couple, but they're also kind of the same person in a lot of ways. So I would say, like, there is probably no stronger coach, best player like duo in the league than Brunson and Tibbs, or it's right up there. And then Hart's one of your leaders. Is Cat like quietly rebelling? We just haven't seen that reported or heard anything about that or anything like that. I mean, we know what losing control of the locker room looks like. It's when your team goes out there and either doesn't execute anything that they're supposed to execute based on what you guys what you've discussed, or just like doesn't give a shit and doesn't try. There's no evidence, like literally none, of any of that having happened at any point in time this season or in any season since Jalen Brunson got here. Going into tonight, they had the second best defense in the league over the last 10 games. If a coach has lost control of the locker room, do you think amidst a trying season that they are going to rally together to defend the best that they have all year in March, in like the dog days of the NBA season? Again, like I know, I get it. I have the reputation I have, and I'm never gonna live it down. I'm never gonna get rid of it as the guy who's gonna defend Tibbs no matter what. And that's fine. I own it. I've defended him to the nth degree so many times, probably when he doesn't deserve it. But there comes a point with these comments that it's just like, it's almost as if they are intentionally stupid. But then I remember, that's just people. Thanks, Sasha. Make sure you comment again soon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review while you're at it. Kara Goldenberg, what's going on, Kara? Did you get the rationale paying Tucker $180,000 for 10-day contracts? Could his locker room presence really outweigh having a real player in case of emergency that can contribute? Thank you in advance. I don't think that they saw anyone out there on the market that they felt was going to warrant minutes more than the guys that were already here. So they looked at it and said, "Hey, PJ Tucker, all that he brings in the locker room, off the court, the whole thing. I think, it's interesting because, going back to the lost control of the locker room thing, like that, what a ridiculous statement. But you could always improve a locker room. Doesn't matter how strong your locker room is. You could always improve a locker room. And I do think that there has been something going on. I don't think it has anything to do with the coach, but I think amongst the players, I think there has been something going on this year where they're just a little bit off. And PJ Tucker is one of those kind of unifying forces. Is there someone else on the market that you had your eye on? I don't know. I didn't see anyone. There was no one that they could have signed where I was like, oh, that guy. Yeah, clearly we missed the boat on that guy. He'd be playing minutes for us right now. I get it. We're playing precious 7 minutes a game or 8 minutes a game or 9 minutes a game. And that's a lot. That's too much for anybody's liking. Tonight wasn't about Precious Jewett. Tonight was about the fact that they came out. They couldn't hit a basket, and they came out just generally a little flat. That's really it. Thanks, Kara. Kara with another one. We can sign TJ Warren to a 10-day and then convert him to a regular contract and waive DeLon Wright. He's a walking bucket. So waiving DeLon Wright, just FYI, doesn't get you any more money. And but I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they could waive him and sign a player, whether it's TJ or someone else, to a contract on like the last day of the season. I think that's still the case, depending on how they space out the 10 days with Tucker, because I'm assuming Tucker's going to get another 10-day. I mean, I think he's had a good season in Westchester. When games really matter, and I'm not saying like tonight didn't matter, but let's put it this way: would TJ Warren have made a difference tonight? I don't know that he would have. Yeah, you never know. Thanks, Kara. Asher with another one. He is utterly unable to motivate these guys on nights that they are not self-motivated. They really drag tonight. You're getting on Tibbs as a motivator? Sure. Okay. That's fine. You're right. You know what, Tibbs? This one's on you, man. You didn't motivate the guys. That's it. That's why they. What did I write? Other than that 5.5 minute stretch, beside the big guys, Cat, Mitch, and Precious, they were 14 of 53 from the field. You know what that number says to me? They were not motivated. That's what it says to me. It's clear as day. Oh, God. Kara with another one. Can be done. I've walked through various scenarios. Kara, good job by you, because you paid more attention to this than me. There's so much going on with this team right now that the last spot on the roster is just frankly not that's not interesting to me. It's just I don't think it is going to wind up mattering. If they were even if they were in like a dogfight for playoff seeding, maybe you could talk to me. Or if they were like more injured than they are, that's the part of it, right? Is like they're missing Brunson. Obviously that hurts. And they're missing Huck Porty too. We shouldn't forget about that, although I don't think Huck Porty would be getting minutes with Mitch back. But they're only missing one player. I think they have enough right now. I really do. I know tonight sucked. I think they have enough. Considering up until tonight, in the previous 5 games in which you didn't have Jalen Brunson, you won 3 of those games, and then the 2 games you lost, you were right there in the fourth quarter. So I think they have enough. I can't get to the point where a guy who's not even in the league right now, and if 29 or 28 29 other teams, if they really wanted him, except that for the couple of teams I don't think have the ability to sign anyone. Like the vast majority of teams, if they really wanted TJ Warren, they'd be able to go sign TJ Warren. The fact that nobody has, it probably says a little bit about how much TJ Warren is capable of helping a team right now. But listen, you never know. You never know. If he's here, I'll be hopeful that he can change my thinking. Thanks, Kara. And another one from Kara. Thank you very much, Kara. Really appreciate the contributions tonight. I'm legitimately worried about Detroit. Decent shot, their second best player, Jaden Ivey, is back in a couple of weeks. Really unfortunate matchup. I will push back against that. First of all, if Jaden Ivey comes back, I'm not sure how much that helps them. I think the Ivy-Cade partnership made massive strides this year. Because Ivy is a guy who has not proven that he could hit shots from the outside, I think there are potential pitfalls. Now, obviously, Ivy's a really good player, and he can do some other things that could give the Knicks fits. But I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that the Knicks are like 1,000% going to win that series. I'm excited for that matchup. I'm excited for the Knicks to take a lot of the doubt that I'm sure they're hearing. There's no question in my mind they're hearing everybody and their mother pick Detroit or say that Detroit is ripe for an upset in the first round, of the Knicks. I'm sure they're hearing all that. I am very much looking forward to seeing how a veteran team responds to like a bunch of NBA media people saying, "Yeah, we think you're going down in round one. We don't even think you're going to get to Boston." Is it the best matchup? No, it's not the best matchup because they have a lead ball handler who, like, they're just not going to switch Jalen. They're not going to be comfortable switching Jalen Brunson onto Cade Cunningham. So between that and the cat piece of it is they're definitely going to test you when they have the ball. And then defensively, Detroit is as capable defensively as almost as like they've been the best defensive team or one of the best defensive teams in the league for months. So they will test the Knicks. That said, I think the Knicks are going to be able to score on the Pistons if they play how they're capable of playing and if their players play up to their individual capabilities. So play as well as they need to collectively, and then, the guys do what they should do. So I'm excited for that matchup if it comes. Thanks, Kara. Blue Flags, what's going on, Blue Flags? Well, now they know how not to defend KP. # sign CP3. No, the Porzingis Tatum pick and roll. Look, I look forward to the challenge. I want to see what they do because it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Thanks, Blue. Hush Zoo. I miss JB so much. That's all. Or that is all. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, we all miss JB. But the one thing, I've never gone over to the side of their ball movement is better and they're, this and that. They need JB. Their offense needs JB desperately. And the benefit that comes with Brunson being there on offense outweighs the negatives that come with him being there on defense. I still do think that they can take some benefits from this experience of trying to score without Brunson and bring it to when Brunson comes back and try to integrate those things together. I think that could be a plus in the long run. Thanks, Hush. Joseph J. What's going on, Joseph? New York needs a big with a paint floater and a player with 2 to the ball gravity to open up this offense. More fouls and threes. Off-season checklist, # January Knicks 2024. Yeah, I mean, you're basically describing Isaiah Hartenstein and Julius Randle. Now, one of those players, the Knicks very, very much wanted to keep, and unfortunately they couldn't. I don't know that I would say like, if Mitchell Robinson had a floater, how big of a game changer would it be for this team? I don't know that it would be immense. Now, Isaiah Hartenstein did a lot of things other than being able to hit a floater. And I think the Knicks miss a lot of the other things that he did way more than they miss his ability to hit a floater. But that's neither here nor there. I think going out and getting a player with 2 to the ball gravity is a much more interesting conversation for me. Because for as much as Towns has made some, I think he's done some really nice things offensively while JB has been out, including tonight. Like, he was really good tonight on offense. I know he ended up missing some shots, but like, there was a stretch there where it seemed like Cat couldn't hit a basket, and he still ends up with 31 or 32 on 21 shots. So he's doing some nice things. I think if you had one more perimeter player with 2 to the ball gravity, again, it's an interesting conversation to me. It's interesting because, like, clearly I agree with you, Joseph. They need that player, but who does he play over? Who is that player? What do you have to send out to get that player? Is that player a starter? Is that player more of a traditional 6-man? I mean, it's a whole host of conversations, but in a vacuum, I absolutely agree with you, Joseph. 100%. Thanks, man. Kara with another one. Thank you, Kara. You're the MVP tonight here. Detroit showing us better records with each passing month. Yes. 9 out of 12 in February, beat Boston. Crazy to underestimate. I'm not underestimating them. If it sounded like I was underestimating them before, I shouldn't. I think there's an argument that Detroit is one of the 10 best teams in the league. Could we say that? I just still believe that this Knicks team is one of the 5 best teams in the league. And where I am, if you want to say underestimating the Pistons, or maybe I'm giving too much credit to the Knicks, one or the other. I do think the fact that it is Detroit's first go round in the playoffs. I do think that matters. And I do think the fact that this will be the first time, like, the bright lights are on a lot of these players. I do think that matters. And I do think the fact that the Knicks have Jalen Brunson, a player who's been to the Western Conference Finals and obviously been the best player on a successful postseason team. Karl-Anthony Towns, a player who's been just last season to Western Conference Finals and had a Western Conference semifinals for the ages last season to put a lot of the playoff issues that he's had over the course of his career behind him. Josh Hart has performed in the playoffs. OG Anunoby has performed in the playoffs. OG Anunoby, an NBA champion. Who am I forgetting? Mikal Bridges has been to an NBA Finals. Cam Payne has been to an NBA Finals. Really the only guy without. How can I say that? Mitch has been the best player in a series in which his team won. So like, I am putting maybe more stock in all that than I should be. And I'm not saying the Pistons don't have some guys. Beasley has been in the playoffs. Tobias Harris has obviously been in the playoffs. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been in the playoffs. Who am I forgetting? That's a part of their rotation. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. But like, more or less, though, their guys haven't really been there before. So, thanks, Kara. OG team, what's going on, OG? Kevin McCullough looked good in the G League. Yeah, I saw a New York basketball Twitter account tweeted that out before. Good. Great. Excited for next season. See what Kevin could do. 100%. Thanks, OG team. Jalen, what's going on? Jalen, thank you for the generous contribution. It's a lot of bad takes in the super chat tonight. I mean, any loss, you're going to get this stuff. Any loss. It's year one, friends. Most teams don't find a stride until year two. Thanks for being the voice of reason, John and KFS. Let's go, Knicks. I don't know if I'm a voice of reason as much as I am I'm a frustrated Knicks fan like everybody else, except the difference is that I get frustrated oftentimes over the frustrations of others, but I still get frustrated and I still, talk out of my ass. I've seemingly made a career out of doing it. So that's good for me. But here's the thing. This is a good team. I should know this off the top of my head. Of course I don't. They're 43-25. They're 18 games over 500. If they go 500 the rest of the way, if they win exactly as many games as they lose the rest of the way, they will win 50 games. It will be the first time that they have won 50 games in consecutive seasons in, I believe, 30 years. Like, things are not that bad. They don't have their best player. They don't have the guy who is as important to this franchise as any star in the league is to their franchise. And I do not say that hyperbolically. He's not there right now. So to your point, Jalen, it's part of finding their stride. And I'm just going to say to all the Tibbs haters out there, it is a very distinct possibility that they don't find their full stride. This group, this collective, it is possible they don't find that stride under this coach. It is absolutely possible. But we will draw that conclusion or not draw that conclusion after the postseason. But you make a great point. And look, in Jalen we trust. Get back soon. And that is all that I have to say about that. Talked about this game for about half an hour more than I thought I was going to wind up, but that's fine. Appreciate everybody chiming in. And thanks for watching another Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by BetUS TV. Don't forget, we're over 20,000 subscribers now on this channel. So if you want to add to that number, if you're not currently subscribed to the Knicks Film School YouTube channel, please do so. Also, don't forget, check out all of the pods. Andrew had a banger. Really enjoyed it today with the Spurs guy, whose name, of course, I'm forgetting, but enjoyed hearing him talk about kind of their process this season. And it was funny. I caught about half the show, including the part where it's like him going through the scenario that would need to unfold for the Spurs to get an upset tonight. I'm not sure he said Mamu coming off the bench to hit 7 threes. So you missed the boat there. But otherwise, yeah, no, it's great pregame show. Check out the pod with me and Fred. That was a lot of fun. I thought we had a good discussion. I'll be back on the post game tomorrow night after the Hornets game. Check me out there. And, all the usual fun and games upcoming. But until next time, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace out.